I'm actually a little bit intimidated. I'm a little bit scared because one of the things that's said to people like me is that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I'm very much not in that room today. So there's a lot of very big brains around me. So let's say I'm a little bit scared. So forgive
What?
any mistakes I make on the way through this.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to talk to you about something called intellectual property. And those are two very big words. And we take the property is basically the things you own. So everyone knows about, like, you have a pencil case, you'll have a car, parents have a car. So those are things, those are property, so things. And intellectual, well, that's it's a long word to make people sound clever, but really what it means is things that come from your brain. So as well as actual physical kind of pieces of things that you can hold in your hand, your ideas can also be things that you own. So yeah, it's an interesting area for me. So how would I put it to you? Once you have a good idea, it can actually be worth money. And what I would tend to do is I would there's lots of different types of this basically brain property that you can have. One way of protecting your idea is to keep it secret. Another way of protecting an idea is you filed what's called a patent for it. And a patent is it's a license from the government, essentially. You can also get design rights for how things look, and you can have a trademark for your basically like Coca-Cola for your business name. And the last one, which I think we might actually, some of you might be familiar with, is copyright, which is, say, how you've expressed the idea in writing, how you've written something down. So all these types of property can be very valuable. So when you're coming up and you're inventing things or you're coding, um, the thing to keep in mind there is that your ideas are actually really, really valuable. And the other thing too, this is where I think it gets interesting as well. With humans, just generally, there's things that are almost, shall we say, um, you just do. People just do. You eat, you sleep, but you also invent. Everyone comes up with ideas pretty much just by being on planet Earth. And it's almost like if you could picture your life, you almost leave like a trail, like a snail of ideas behind you. You'll just come up with loads and loads of ideas. And the other thing too is that your brain is part of you. So, you know, how do I put this? You're basically going to come up with ideas that I would never, ever be capable of coming up with because of who you are, you know? So I'm really impressed to be chatting to you. Um, what I did a little bit of research before today, and I was looking at some inventors. I had a look at the US Patent Office's website and people who had applied for inventions and who got inventions. And I came across somebody called Madam C.J. Walker. And Madam C.J. Walker, she is the first Black female millionaire in the United States. And she lived sometime round about the turn of the 19th century, so a long time ago. But, you know, part of the thing with looking at her inventions is when she lived, it wasn't easy at that time. This was the Great Depression in the United States. So a lot of people were very poor when she was growing up. And so she had trouble with her hair. And all her neighbors had trouble with their hair. And all the equipment they were using. So say things like just hair tongs to straighten your hair. What was happening was when they were being used, they were burning people's scalp. Your head would go on fire. So one of the things that she invented, where is it now? I have to turn on my video feed to see if I can see. Where am I? Show self-data. So I'm not sure if it's coming up clear. She invented this thing. And it's very, very simple. But because she was a Black woman living in America, her brothers were hairdressers, as it turned out, but no one thought that your head going on fire when you go to straighten your hair was a problem, because no one, I don't know why no one had thought this was a problem beforehand, but she was the first person to spot this was a problem. So they came up with this, oh, I'll put my video back on, excuse me, start video, I just don't want to see myself. There we go. So the idea was that they had a specially shaped sheet of, say, a plastic material. And the two things that were clever with it was that it would curl up a tube so that it was nice and easy to store. And then you could, on someone's head, you could pull the hair that you wanted to straighten through it so that it was away from the rest of the hair, and that the plastic would keep the heat of the tongs away from your head, and your head wouldn't get burnt. And she was opened, I think it was in Pittsburgh, they opened a hair salon, and they made money out of that. She also came up with a machine for hair weaving to do it faster than a human could. So, and yeah, those were her inventions. But as well as that, so she traded on her name, and so she trademarked her name. Another thing too, another idea she had was that, well, if you're trying to do business with somebody else, they have to trust you, because what a business actually is you give somebody money for a promise, and they have to actually fulfill that promise. They actually have to do what they say they're going to do. So if you walk into a shop to buy a chocolate bar, and you give them the money for the chocolate bar, and they don't give you a chocolate bar in exchange for the money, you're not going to go back into that shop. Same with, and if you're going to buy, say, shampoo from a company, if the shampoo doesn't work, you're not going to trust them, you're not going to go back. So with one of the things that C.J. Walker spotted was that when people were going around selling hair care products, what was actually happening was that it was people like me were knocking on Black women's doors saying, I have got the best product for your hair. And she realized that that was a problem, because I know nothing about your hair. I know nothing about a Black person's hair. I don't even, if you look at my hair is a bit odd anyway. I've got actually I have, if I grow my hair long, it does really weird things. I get curls at the front here. It goes out sideways there, and it stays flat on top. I look like a rugby ball by the end of, so it's a very, so I have weird hair, so I can't tell anyone anything about hair. So she actually started people, she basically, her salespeople looked like her clients. She got her clients to be her salespeople. She employed people to work for her, and she'd give them business advice, so they get an education, so they'd be independent, and it was worth working for her. She took care of her employees. So that idea, there's no way really of protecting it with my law, but some ideas you can't actually, so how will I put this? So some ideas you just know, and they're called know-how. So say, if you have a carpenter, it's very difficult for me to try and take a carpenter's work because I've not done the training. I don't know how to do woodwork. So there's those sort of things too. So again, does anyone have any questions at this stage? I kind of feel like I'm talking to a silent room. And again, I'm very scared because there's very bright people in front of me.
See, there's some text, some information going on there, the text box. They've been talking. Some said,
very good.
Obviously, there's something on Netflix. I don't know what that is. Oh, the Madam CJ Walker.
All right, it's coming up on Netflix.
Yeah, this
it's there on Netflix already.
Oh my goodness, I haven't seen it. Is it any good?
I think I've seen it, I think I've seen it. I saw it last year. It was very interesting.
Very good.
Yeah, CJ Walker. Yeah.
Then I'm at a disadvantage that you've all seen it before.
Not everyone, apparently. Yeah. But do you have any question, girls? So far, is there any question relating to what he said so far? Fire him. He's up to the task.
I hope.
Okay, I can see one message there. Okay, I think they're kind of focused on the Netflix one. Show.
But yeah, I suppose what I can do then is I can talk about the different types of intellectual property a little bit.
Okay.
So in the same way, there's different types of like physical properties, so cars and books and trains. There's different types of intellectual property. Now, the first one, the one I deal with mostly, is called a patent. And it is the main advantage of having a piece of property is that it's yours. So once you have it, you can sell it, you can rent it, you can also stop people trespassing on it. You can take someone to court if you feel they're trespassing on your rights. So those are the reasons why you would have it, or why you would get a patent. And a patent protects things, it protects how things work. So if you were to come up, again, I'll take Coca-Cola because they're a great example of it. With Coca-Cola, they're the way they want to be the best cola drink company in the world. Their idea is that if you stick out your hand, you will be able to buy Coca-Cola. So one of the things that they've put a lot of money into is vending machines. And in fact, they have filed patents on how their vending machines work. And the reason they've done that is they want their machines to be the best machines. So if they can think of a way of making their machines work better than a Pepsi machine, they don't want Pepsi to have that advantage. So they use it basically to stop other companies trespassing. And so that any little bit of their machine that's better than somebody else's, they keep that advantage. So that's how they're using patents, and they use it for the vending machines. They use a trade secret as well. Kind of quite famously, the recipe for Coca-Cola, they just keep it secret. They don't tell anyone what it is. So if you want to make Coca-Cola, you have to go away and figure out how they made it. And they think that effort will stop you doing it. The good thing with a trade secret, with keeping a secret, is if you can keep the secret forever, then the protection lasts forever. With a patent, your protection lasts for 20 years. So they have different lengths of time. After 20 years, everybody can use what was in a patent. The other thing that Coca-Cola used is a design right. And the design right is, have you ever seen the hourglass shaped bottles, the old school Coca-Cola bottles? Well, that's something you would protect with a design right. Anything that looks nice, it doesn't necessarily have to have a function. So I see Emily Rose there has a doll, and there it is. Thanks, Emily. And that doll is going to be protected by design rights because there's no special machinery in the doll to make it function or make it work better as a doll. It's just, it looks better as a doll. So you protect how things look with designs. And the last kind of important one is trademarks. So the most important piece of property Coca-Cola has is the name Coca-Cola. And they've spent a lot of money on that name so that if you walk into a shop and you're looking for a drink, the first thing that comes into your mind is Coca-Cola. So those are the different sorts of intellectual property things. So we trade secrets. Yeah, we've talked about know-how. And the big thing with all of this is it's one thing having the idea, but you have to actually record it. You have to write it down, or you have to, So I'll give you a good example of that. There's the train that runs from Belfast to Dublin goes over a bridge at Malahide. There's an estuary. There's a lake that drains out to the sea at Malahide, and a bridge that goes over it. Now, this lake is tidal, and the bridge goes over a narrow spot. So the water coming in and out of this lake moves fast. And when they built the bridge, they knew that this water moving fast back and forwards, over time, it scrapes the foundation, it scrapes the bottom of the bridge away. Now, they knew it when they built the bridge. And so they had guys checking on this bridge every 3 or 4 years to see if it was still stable. But over time, each of the people that knew about this problem, they either retired or they got promoted or they moved to other jobs. And at some point it came to, there was nobody in the company or nobody in that department in the company that knew about this bridge and knew about the base of the bridge being swept away by the water. So I think it's now about 10 years ago, there was a train coming from Belfast to Dublin, and the train driver was driving over the bridge, and the train didn't feel right. So he was a little bit, and there was noises he heard that he shouldn't have heard. So he got to the far side of the bridge, and he slowed down and he looked back, and the bridge had collapsed behind him. And they got very, very lucky because, I think it was the pillars had gone down, the rail, the steel bit of the rail line was hanging there like a necklace, and but the train had made it over safely. So they got very, very lucky that there wasn't another train behind him or anything like that. And that's just because a little bit of know-how, a little piece of information that somebody knew how to do something. They hadn't kept a record of it, and it disappeared. So if you know something, it's like if you have a good idea in the middle of the night, it's good to have a pen and paper beside you, because you know in the following morning you won't remember it. You know? Yeah. What else can I say about intellectual property, the weird and wonderful area?
I think we should probably start asking them what they've learned so far, because do you know, I mean, you said a lot already. Typically I would test your knowledge a little bit to see if they're grasping what you're saying, you know, before we move on to the next speaker, because we have another person, you know, that we'll be talking today as well. So if you don't mind, can I ask you a question before I ask the girls as well?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, now I'm showing their heart. It's okay. What has this got to do with me? Do you know what I mean? If I come up with some idea now, you know, I'm developing an app, all right? And what do I have to patent? What should I do? If you don't mind, we could make it short because of time, like answer to that question.
Yeah, well, I suppose the big piece of advice would be to get advice. And the other big piece of advice would be, don't tell everybody how your app works. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if you tell everybody how something works, well, you've already reduced the number of ways that you can protect it, because if you tell everybody it's not a secret, and if you tell everybody, you can't get a patent for it, because it has to be a secret before you apply for a patent.
Ah, cool.
The big one would be as well, maybe for the images on your app, maybe you could file design rights for the images, but you could also put, if you're using your own images, you could maybe put watermarks on them. So what a watermark is, it's an image hidden in your image, like a little secret thing that you can only see if you know what you're looking for. And that way, it's to stop someone, it's to be able to spot someone who has copied your, you know.
Yeah.
But part of it too is when you have, you're going to make an app, you're going to be solving a problem. And you have to think about what is the most valuable bit of your solution to this problem, your answer to this problem, and how you would go about, shall we say, either keeping it to yourself, or what's the most valuable way of using it. For some things, the most valuable way of using it is actually to share it with everyone. So the example I can think of is Tesla, the car makers, have given away or are letting everybody use their patents for their car batteries for free. And the idea is, if everybody can use the batteries, then there'll be more charging stations and there'll be a bigger market for electric cars. So there's more chance that someone will buy a Tesla.
Okay.
All
right.
So it's just to keep it in mind. And the other thing is, I suppose the other thing I'd like to say, just because I think I'm running out of time at this point, is
not to worry.
Don't be intimidated by people like me. If you're ever having to deal with us, we look scary, but we're essentially your legal butlers, you know? So that's what we're here for. So if someone isn't giving you respect, you move on to the next one. And that's all. That's
Thank
me
you
done.
So much, Richard. I'm so delighted. I'm sure they've learned something from today's talk. And maybe just to throw in some things like what he's mentioned about your images, for instance, because next week we are going to invite a professional graphic designer who's going to be helping you guys on how to design your logo, you know, your image, because she's going to be talking about your colors and all that, but it has to be unique, you know, something unique that will be just about what your app is. Let me also use an example what we did with Memory Haven. Memory Haven obviously was one of the people that one of the team that contested last year. We had to actually do a trademark on their logo. Do you get it? We did a trademark on their logo. We registered it. We went to the office in Ireland here, and it was registered. So that's one of the things. If, for instance, your app is something that's so valuable, at the end of the day, we have to go through all the steps. Okay. So what we're trying to do here is not like we're trying to play. We're trying to solve a problem, a big problem. At the end of the day, most likely if your app is good enough, it will be in the app store. People start buying it. It's going to go beyond what you think it is now. We're not playing. Okay. So listen, we are so grateful. If you don't mind, Richard, could you just hang on because we'll finish at 1. Let one of our own here. She's going to be teaching the rest of the girls on how they can write a value proposition. So what and see her in action. My name is Laura. Laura, you're around.
Hi everyone.
Hanging out, and maybe just your presentation should be as short as maybe less than 30 minutes because they're going to ask you questions.
Yeah.
Okay, Laura, off you go.
Yeah, I'll share the screen. Yeah. Now, can everyone see that? Okay. Perfect. So, hi everyone, I'm Laura, and today I'll be teaching you a systematic way to arrive at a well-defined value proposition statement for your app business. So what is a value proposition? So a value proposition statement specifies what makes the company's product or service attractive, why a customer should purchase or use it, and how the value of the product or service stands out from similar offerings. So the 4-step strategy. So I'm going to introduce you all to the 4-step strategy. And these are the questions you ask yourself to help yourself land at a well-defined value proposition statement. So step 1, you need to define the problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Step 2, you need to specify who the problem affects. Step 3, why do they need the problem to be solved? And step 4, the benefits of solving the problem. So today I'll be using my app, Smart Emotions, to help you guys arrive at your well-defined value proposition statement. So my idea is to create an app that will support people who have experienced traumatic events in their lives using the 5 emotional intelligence pillars, which are self-awareness, empathy, motivation, self-regulation, and social skills. So step 1, I have to define my problem. So in my project, I'm trying to help people who have experienced traumatic events and people who have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So trauma and PTSD can lead to re-experiencing and avoiding traumatic events, emotional numbing, hyperarousal, feeling on the edge, feeling as if you're going to lose it all. Step 2, I had to define who the problem affects. It affects people who have experienced traumatic events like serious accidents, violent personal assault, e.g. sexual assault, witnessing violent deaths, natural disasters, and kidnapping. Then I have to specify why the problem needs to be solved. So it needs to be solved to avoid flashbacks, nightmares, repetitive and distressing images, or physical sensations such as pain, sweating, nausea, or trembling, isolation, withdrawal, and giving up on activities you enjoy, irritation, angry outbursts, sleeping problems, and difficulty concentrating. Then I listed out the benefits of solving the problem. So my app aims to empower users to communicate effectively and express themselves freely, increase their motivation, build stronger self-regulation and discipline, develop better social skills, overcome sorrowful events, and educate family and friends on how to empathize with those who have gone through these events. So I believe you all are familiar with this template. Mrs. Evelyn has sent this template to all of your emails. So what I did here was I copied and pasted, my brainstorming notes into the right category. So this is how it looked like towards the end. So you're probably wondering what happens here. I know there's a lot of information that's been given out, but now I'm going to introduce you to another strategy that will help you summarize and condense all your brainstorming information and notes and so on. So this is the Geoffrey Moore's value positioning statement. So here you need to identify the target user, their need, the app category. So your app category can fall into lifestyle, maybe games, mindfulness apps, and much more. Then I listed the main benefits. So after I condensed my information, I basically slide them into the gaps. So I filled in the gaps with my information that was summarized. And this is how it looked like. I basically just filled in the gaps and made sure I was getting all my key points and notes down and the message I wanted to get across. So this is how I landed on my value proposition statement. And now I'm going to read out the Smart Emotions app value proposition statement for you. So guys, don't be afraid if your value proposition statement is, less than mine, a bit shorter, maybe a bit longer. Don't be afraid. But it was just a matter of getting all the information I wanted to get across onto paper. So the Smart Emotions app is for people affected by traumatic events, such as severe accidents, natural disasters, sudden deaths of loved ones, sexual assault, kidnapping, and more, who need help preventing symptoms like reoccurring flashbacks, isolation, emotional numbness, uncomfortable sensations, and sleeping problems. The app's use of emotional intelligence empowers users to communicate effectively, express themselves freely, increase their motivation, build stronger self-regulation, develop better social skills, overcome sorrowful events, and educate family and friends on how to empathize with those affected. So that's me. So does anyone have any questions at all from the slides? Is there anything anyone would like to contribute from this? Anyone?
Let's see what's in the text box. I know they like chatting.
Yeah.
If you want to quickly check the chat.
Let me see if I can actually check that now.
Anything there? I can even see it now, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of different from my end because I'm sharing
this. So okay, I can see it. Not really, kind of, yeah. Okay, almost similar to what you're trying to do. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so if you guys don't have questions, okay, let me ask you some questions, Laura. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So obviously, the way you arrived at your value proposition, you used what you have in your template. If you want to quickly go back to your template. Please.
Yeah, I can do
when
that.
When I say the template, I mean the document that I've sent to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
I like the way you have it done there. For instance, now you say, what is the problem you're trying to solve? You're trying to solve the problem that people that have trauma, or what's it called?
PTSD. Yeah.
PTSD. Okay, there's PTSD. Okay. And you identified 3 major problems, so these are 3 categories of problems. You found that they experience obviously flashback, isn't it?
Yes.
So they re-experience and avoid traumatic events, the emotional numbing, and hyperarousal. So these are the 3 major problems they experience, as I can see there.
Yeah.
Okay. So girls, if you are looking to complete that section, you want to quickly go and identify the 3, or sorry, not 3, it could be more, the major problems, right, that the people that you're trying to help, they have, that their challenges, so to speak. Okay, you want to find out what are their challenges. So that is what you put in there, the what. I don't know, I hope that is clear enough. Then of course you have who does it affect, and what does that, what's another word for that, Laura? Who does it affect?
Your target audience.
Exactly. That's your target audience. So if we have to now go back to that template, that's what do you call it? Is it Geoffrey? What's it?
Geoffrey Moore.
Geoffrey Moore's template.
Yeah.
Okay? So you could see that the information that you have in here, that is what you use in completing that template. Okay, so you are creating the information here in order for you to extract some detailed information from here to the template. Does that make sense? So that is the way you now eventually create your value proposition, which is very important. When you create your videos, that is what you're going to talk about. The value proposition is one section of your pitch that you are going to talk about when you're putting your videos together. All right. So do not joke with the content of what you're going to put here, because you're going to be using them eventually. All right. So the second box, identify the target audience. Okay. Put as many, when you say target audience is not just those that it directly affects. You have primary target audience. You also have secondary target audience. You know, secondary target. Laura, can you tell me who your secondary target audience will be?
Yeah. So my secondary target audience will be, people. It could be organizations, departments in, in Ireland and so on, who would be interested in the app. You understand? We have organizations like Mental Health Ireland, spunout.ie, Social Anxiety Ireland, and we have the Department of Children and Youth Affairs, and so much more. And those are your secondary target audience, and they'll be also invested and interested in what you're about to produce on your product as well. So those are your secondary, then you have your primary target audience.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's it. So when you are putting your target audience there, don't let me see just one person. It has to be more than one. It has to be more than the primary target audience. Okay. All right. Say, for instance, if you are creating an app that would help people that live with which is what I call now, some people that live with diabetes, for instance. Okay. Now I know we have two teams here working on diabetes. Can you girls tell me who your target audience are? I know you are there now. I know some of you are here. Can you tell me who's your primary target audience and who is your secondary target audience? We have two teams, so at least one person should be able to speak.
My target audience are teenagers, and then the second one's like young adults.
Yeah. So who's the secondary target audience? That's the thing now. That's what I just said. Most of you talk about the primary. Who is the secondary target audience?
So you could say maybe other people with different conditions that are similar, or even just people who want to stay healthy, or maybe doctors who want to help those people.
Yeah, doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So I want another person now to speak. That's a good one. Yeah, Siobhan.
Maybe family members of the target.
Family members, exactly.
Yeah,
family members.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Family members that are concerned about their health, so they will be interested again. So can I get another target audience in this matter? Not just family now or the actual person. Is Jessica here? Can I hear you speak? Jessica, sorry, I'm putting you on the spot because I know that's one of your stuff there. Who will be your secondary target audience?
I'm not sure, like for what?
Okay. So you see the way secondary target audience, basically, have you guys researched, I've asked you girls question to go and look for companies. It could be charity organization that are, supporting the people that have this, people that live with diabetes. Do you get it? Is there any organization in Ireland that does that? No, you've not done enough research then. So girls, you need to have a meeting and get these facts right. Does anybody know who their primary or secondary target audience is in whatever you're discussing or whatever topic you're working on? Does anybody know? Not just the primary target audience. If nobody is speaking, I'm going to call another team to speak now. Who is your secondary target audience? So you see, let's see what Laura has there. I know Laura, it seemed like what we have there, your target audience was just focused on the primary. Yeah. So you need to go add some secondary target audience to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondary target audience. That's very important. As a matter of fact, they would even be the people that will actually help to promote the app because they have a community. If you're depending on single people or individuals, your app will not go anywhere. So it's very important that you identify organizations that are pursuing or that are championing the cause. Okay, I know there's a team here that is working on sickle cell disease. Now, the people that are working on sickle cell disease, who are your target audience? Who are your secondary target audience? I'm going to call your name now if you do not speak yourself. I know you, and you're here.
Is it doctors that work with patients with sickle cell?
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Who again? Who is going to champion your cause? Even if they don't have that.
Charities?
Yeah, and who are the charity? What kind of charity? Do you know anyone? Have you researched the charity in Ireland or globally that actually
health charities?
Say that
globally,
again?
like health charities globally.
I don't think so, because that ailment that you're talking about, that's sickle cell disease, is peculiar with a certain demography, a certain race. Okay, so who are those people that will champion it? So you want to go and do that research. If you do not have it at this point in time, you want to go and research organizations. Those are the organizations you're going to specifically put in there on the target audience. Yes, you're going to put the primary people, but the secondary people, very, very important. I hope everybody is learning from this. Do not just put in one or two lines or whatever. There are loads of people that could be your secondary target audience. The government could be your secondary one, because they could be funding research, for instance, Dairy and Princess, the one working on sickle cell. Research. Who are the people? Who is the governmental organization that is in charge of maybe funding research to look at this sort of disease? Those will be your target audience as well. All right. So girls, target audience is not just the person that's affected by it. So you need to go work on that part of it. All right. I hope that's clear enough. So let's look at the why. All right. So can I have Laura on screen again?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, super. Yeah. Okay. So what's in your why section? Do you who do you need the problem? Why? Sorry, I beg your pardon. Why do you need the problem to be solved? Right. So just 1 minute now. You can see now. You can see that this why section is directly related to the what section somehow. Can you see that? The why is directly related. The third box is directly related to the first box. The first box said re-experiencing and avoiding traumatic events. So that means flashbacks. So people that re-experience this, what do? They have flashbacks of events that has happened, So why do you need to solve it? To prevent, to avoid. You can see that is linking it to what she stated clearly that they experienced, the problem. You see that? So the flashback, nightmares, repetitive and distressing images and all that. So that's why it needs to be solved, to avoid this. Then, of course, emotional numbing. I don't know if that's related. Isolation, withdrawal. This is what it leads to. Can you see that? You see the points that she laid out there. She also now put directly how that can be avoided. You can see this section is linked to that section. Okay? You don't want to go off the beat. If you stated at the beginning that these are the problems you want to solve, then the appropriate and things that you want to avoid will be linked to the problems that you have stated clearly there. And finally, the benefit area. All right. So the benefit of solving this problem. What will these people benefit? What's the opposite of this flashback? When they stop having flashback, what will it now lead to? That will be the benefits. If I stop having flashback, that means, oh my God, I'll probably live a better person or whatever. When you stop doing everything here, what happens? What's the benefit of you solving this problem? All right. So you need to think deep Okay, you need to think about the different target audience, even when you're adding the benefit. How is it going to benefit the primary target audience? How is it going to benefit the secondary target audience as well? Okay, and for instance, now, say the secondary target audience for Laura now. What's your secondary target audience again?
We have Mental Health Ireland, spun.ie, and Department of Health. Yeah.
So Mental Health Ireland, if with your app, how is it going to benefit them?
So it could be a thing where they can use to their clients and so can use. It's something that they can refer and leverage as well. I feel like it's very important. And, they can also contribute into maybe the features and what needs to be advanced. And it's really good to also get information from other sources rather than just yourself, to also have and also important to have a user-centered design, to also have contributions from
them,
your
absolutely,
primary and your secondary target audience. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask you one question, Laura? You see, under your benefits, you said educate family and friends. What does that mean? Okay.
So they're also a target user for the app. And my app is based on emotional intelligence. So for emotional intelligence, there's 5 pillars, like I stated earlier. There's motivation, self-regulation, self-awareness, social skills, and empathy. So the reason why I inserted there educate family and friends, it's because I want family and friends, people who are in contact with those who have been affected from traumatic events, to be able to empathize with them. It's really important. Understanding is very important in this. So it's there's a more inclusive environment going on even in the app. So everyone is being aware of each other's problems. So empathy is one of the key factors to emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. I'm delighted you answered that question so clearly. So I suppose I've been doing all the questions. Do you girls have any questions for Laura or even Richard? Can you ask Laura any questions? Laura is our star for today now. Come on. Any question?
Why did you decide to do an app on this?
Why did I decide? Okay, so very nice question. So the backstory. When it comes to trauma and traumatic events, myself, I've been in contact with people who have experienced such, traumatic events. For example, my mother, I lost an older sister and my mom lost a daughter. So growing up, I've seen the effects of, this traumatic event on my parents, even my families. I have 3 sisters as well, 2 older than me and 1 younger. And I've seen the effect of it. And even growing up, there's some times I would see my mom very upset. And, there's some times where she wouldn't even, communicate or, show us or tell us how she's feeling, mainly because maybe we were at a younger age. But growing up, I've really seen the need and importance of being able to empathize, even with my mother actually still grieving, and even with my sisters as well, how we all cope around the situation. And empathize with those who have been affected, friends and family who have lost loved ones, who have been through basically traumatic events, sexual assault, and so on. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question, because
it's amazing.
It's a very amazing question, because that is, that's what I've been telling you guys before when we're doing our ideation. You want to come up with ideas that kind of linked with your personal circumstances, if possible, somebody that you know. As a matter of fact, with Laura as well, we are interviewing a mom, and my sister, because we've actually set the interview for on Monday. I had a traumatic incident recently as well. I traveled back home to Nigeria, and my younger sister was kidnapped. So she's going to be interviewed to come and share her own traumatic experience and the type of flashbacks she had. So these are real things we are trying to solve, so that's what I want you girls to do as well. Whatever idea you come up with, you want to make sure it resonates with your target audience, okay? I see Richard want to say something.
I do. Part of it is as well, because you have had these experiences, in a way, you're the only people who can solve these problems. So my background is my dad is a farmer, and essentially the most traumatic thing that has happened to me is a cow pooed on my head when I was milking it.
Wow.
So I can come up a problem being solved like this makes the world a better place, and that is, that's important to do. But without actually have sat in with, if I hadn't sat in on this meeting, it's not a problem I would even really be aware of, because I just it's not in my experience.
Absolutely.
So if you have experience of a problem and you know how to solve it, there's always a thing with inventors that but it's obvious that there's a problem here, and it's obvious this is the solution. But a lot of the time, the only person it's obvious to is you. And that's why no one has solved it.
Absolutely. So that's the way we want it to be. Try and tap into your own personal experience. That is when it will resonate with you and that particular target audience. Okay. So
sure.
I guess what time is it now? Are we going beyond time? I can't even. I'm lost.
5 minutes left, I believe. 6 minutes actually.
Okay. So that's good. So do we have any other question? Any contribution from the girls?
Any questions? Anyone?
Any question? Yeah. Maybe you want to stop sharing your stuff now.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you, everyone.
I really like the question slide, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much, everyone.
Okay, some people have questions. Any questions, girls? I like the question that Eliana asked, which is very good question. So any other question to ask? Come on, girls.
How did you find the secondary audience that you're going to use? Like, how did you find them?
Okay, yeah. So I had to do a bit of research. So I had to, of course, identify what my problem is and who it affects. So once I did that, then I looked up, organizations in Ireland's departments, societies, charities who are invested in the problem area.
Like can I just say something for Laura? Like Laura is actually using a framework called emotional intelligence framework, which has like 5 pillars, and those 5 pillars are, can you help me? Motivation, social skills. Anyway, whatever. 5 pillars. All right. So that's a structure. That's a framework that they use to help people to be smart and to be aware of their surroundings, to know how to do things the right time, to be emotionally strong. It has a lot of stuff. So she's trying to use that framework to see how she can help people that suffer from trauma. Does that make sense? The framework there is to support people that has several things, and she chose trauma. Does that make sense? So she now looked for companies that are maybe consultants that are into emotional intelligence to come and give us ideas about emotional intelligence. So those are people there. Then on the other side, who are the charity organization that supports people, maybe military people that, that face, what they call that word again? Military people, when they go there, when they come back, they have, is it emotional trauma? There's a word for it.
Military combats, I think.
The way when military people, when they go to war, they come back, they're scared, flashbacks, so to speak. So there are actually some people, some companies or some charities that support people that suffer for such ailments, okay? So that's the way. You could just Google it. Yeah. And companies, and who asked that question? Let me guide that.
I believe it was Jody.
Jody, where's Jody? Was it Jody? Jody, what are you working on? Who is Jody?
She's on mute.
All right. So
we're doing bipolar.
Oh, bipolar disease. Okay. Okay. All you need to do now, go and Google charities that support bipolar, whatever. Do you get it? Organizations that support bipolar disease. Then you will see them. That has to be your target audience. Okay. So without much ado, if we do not have any other question, is there any other question before we leave? We don't want to. Any question? No? Yes. So
does Aurora have one? I think she unmuted herself.
So Alexia has a problem. Sorry, a question.
Yeah. Go on,
Alexia.
How do you get your target
audience.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Is that my primary or my secondary target audience? Alexia.
Okay, maybe just address your primary.
Yeah, let's address
primary.
both. Yeah. So for the primary, I had to, of course, identify the problem. So once I did that, I had to see what affects them, the things they go through, their challenges. So and because I can relate to the topic, I was able to, ask my mother, get in contact with Mrs. Nomeo and even her sister. So it's just really important to. I feel like once you can relate to the problem you're trying to solve, it'll be easier to get your primary target audience. Does that make sense, Alexia?
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's about it. Any other questions before we leave? So next week, basically, I have nominated 2 girls that will be teaching you girls some stuff, okay? I've nominated, they know themselves, so you're going to be ready and you're going to be grounded on that topic, all right? And I'm helping you girls, the 2 of you, on how to shine next week, okay? And we're also going to get an external guest speaker. We'll, of course, be teaching you girls how to create your logo. We'll be signposting you on how to get this started, So we're gradually working on our projects, gradually, and we'll get there. So your focus now this week is to make sure you complete that Word document, and come up with your value proposition. That's so important. If you're stuck, remember, just give me a chat on WhatsApp and I'll help you out. Is that okay, girls? So before we leave, I want you all to turn on your camera now. You know what we do? We need to say thank you to Mr. Richard and of course, Laura, that's our special guest. Everybody turn on their cameras and let's give
thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you to Laura as well. Thank you so much.
I really
Guess what? All of you are going to start presenting soon. Jessica, Siobhan, Amanda, I'm going to start calling you guys. I'm going to be presenting. So you better be getting ready for your turn soon. All right. Thank you so much. And bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.